fields are breathing slow. There's a mother calling softly for the child she came to know. We took her milk, we took her baby, called it custom, called it need. But the earth remembers every bond we break to feed our greed. Bring the cows back to their mothers, bring the milk back to the young. Let no baby be taken before their life's begun. Bring them home.
Leave, and we're running into our next 2 hours, which is ICCMD updates, which we have so much time in that slot to carry on. But part of what I would like to share, and so I think I'm going to let Danny ask her question first, if that's okay, is how we have set up some of our art on our website, including Gretchen's painting right on our hero page. So as we're doing updates, I would love it if the panelists stayed and saw our new website that we've had a community help with building, and hopefully community help loading and maintaining. But this website has been launched for this convergence, and then will be, hopefully there will be a lot more resources on there by the time this Mother's Day comes in the next 2 weeks, International Calf and Cow Mother's Day. So Danny, maybe if you ask your question first, then I can do a little show and tell of some of the beautiful art on their website.
Great.
And ask our gorgeous panelists if they would be willing to submit some of their art onto the website so that we can continue growing this beautiful art as advocacy focus. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. This is a question for Gretchen. By the way, your work is beautiful. I think everybody was touched by it. And this comes from Amit, one of our core team. He says the National Animal Rights Day is coming soon, where activists around the world do a silent march. Is it okay to print your painting in a large size and display it at the NARD event here in Glasgow? Is there a formal official way to print it? Thank you.
Oh, that's a great question. I haven't thought about that as far as I would love to talk to him directly about it, to get to talk about the file and what exactly he wants to like what scale he's thinking of and everything. I would love that. I would be honored to have it there. I just want to talk about how to best do that. So I'm for sure open to that. When is it?
It usually happens on first Sunday of June, and it happens worldwide across 170 locations. And I'll be here at Glasgow, in Scotland, and I would really love to, have it probably life size, or maybe half the resolution if that is more doable.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Can you call me or message me about
Sure,
it?
sure. I'll definitely do it. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can get to me through I think just through my website there's an email, or
Mm-hmm.
if you message me yeah, I can send you my number here.
Yeah,
I'll just message you with my
sure.
number on
Okay.
even
Thank you so
WhatsApp.
much, Christian. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. That would be so neat.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, I saw your paintings for the first time, and while the ICCMD website was going on, I mean, in the meeting, Tammy shared your story as well, and we saw all the close-up shots of your feet and the mesh underneath and all of that. And my daughters were sitting next to me, and then we were discussing how many animals can we count in the painting. So we were sitting and counting all the
You
animals. It's so
were.
lovely.
That's so sweet. I love when kids see it and they're
Yeah.
like, oh, the cat, oh, it's the bunny, oh, but I think there's about 200 animals in there. That when I
Yeah.
added all the chicks, it got to be more, but definitely 175. But then there's a lot of like suggested.
Hmm.
There's a lot.
Amazing.
Living art, because she's going to keep adding chicks to it, so the number is always going to change.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So usually at the National Animal Rights Day on the Silent March, people do carry pictures and also dead bodies of carcass of animals and they march through it. But I think this is a very good vision that you have set, a different
Oh,
vision for the animals to be
yeah.
liberated.
Oh,
And
I love it. I just love the idea. Can you imagine it being a big banner? It's so cool.
yeah,
It's huge. So I don't know that it would be, but we'll talk about it and think it
yeah,
through. It's great.
absolutely. Okay. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Coach.
Okay, I just text you my number.
Okay. Yeah.
I think Maggie has a question.
Well, Maggie is going to, we're going to be showing a piece of art that we've worked on together.
Oh,
We got that
great.
opportunity, but you said you wanted to show a few pieces, and maybe we could tag along on the end of that.
Okay, well, I'm gonna just show a couple of pieces of art that are on the website before Gretchen and Victoria, if you're staying, awesome. And
And Tammy,
but
one other quick thing, Tammy. Manjushri is here at something like 3:30 in the morning for her. And if she's going to share about the documentary she's working on, we should let her know when that would be.
yeah, and I think Majushree, we booked it. We said at the end of this time, the end of the 2 hours. But since you're here, because you probably want to go to bed, we can do it sooner than that. So what we had talked about was 7:45 Eastern, but I think you stayed up instead of got up early. So we will fit that in very, very, very soon. So maybe I can just, this will only take literally 3 or 4 minutes to show you a little bit of the website. And then maybe Ray and Maggie, while she's up, can share some of the art they're working on. And then Majushree, would you like to go next? And we will just run into this next ICCMD updates, which stands for International Calf and Cow Mothers Day, which we're bringing awareness to the mothers and babies of all species. So I'm just going to share my screen here. So this is our brand new website.
I'm ready to start whenever you want.
Okay. This is our brand new website. So you can see that Gretchen's pieces, details of her art are on our homepage. And I'm going through the homepage here. Join the movement. I want to give a big shout out to Jamin for helping with the specs for this website. He did an amazing job. So on the homepage, we have a host an event button. We have a toolkit, which I'm going to come back to. And we have lots and lots of really lovely newsletters and articles that we've written, but not everything's loaded on here yet. The website literally just was finished. We're talking about, how Mother's Day started. And a lot of people don't know, but Mother's Day started in 1870 when Julia Ward wanted to have a voice to speak out against her children going to war. So it was a mother wanting to prevent her child from being abused. And so what we're doing on International Calf and Cow Mother's Day is we're widening that circle to include the mother's rights for their babies of all species. So you'll be able to look at that. This website is calfandcow.org. This is a very short video that Amit did. Again, the art of the visual art. This is an artist friend of mine, Jennifer Branson, and she did this music in ancient temples, and it's returning to the mother of us all. So that's just a few second video that you can share on here. We're going to have lots and lots of communities featured. So there's going to be a place, I'm going to show you where that is, where you can enter your own community and any art you would like to share. The original Grandmothers Pledge, the grandmothers came together in 2021, and we weren't really making a lot we weren't really covering a lot of ground, and then this project was launched, and we feel very passionate about it. Not just the grandmothers, but all of us feel it's a great talking point to bring awareness to the mothers and babies of all species. We've done extensive amount of interviews since we have decided to launch this in January. And our interviews are also on here, but also on the Million Vegan Grandmothers YouTube channel. Sailesh wrote the 4 core values driving our world, very much connected with everything we've talked about today. So this is still our homepage. I'm just going to go back up here and show you that we have a button to support the project. So we have a host an event button, a submit art, a submit an article or blog, your favorite book or film, food recipes, submit a community so we can put it on this. This is actually a community website. This is a community website, so please share. And to join the Million Vegan Grandmothers. We're not just grandmothers in any community, we are a part of all of it. I'm going to go on to Toolkit to show you just a few resources. We actually made a deep commitment to launch this only mid-January. And we have put this much together because the time is ready. So many people are talking about dismantling the dairy industry and how important that will be. So we have some standees on here. These are all downloadable. We have some printable art cards for Mother's Day if you want to give people a card of a mother and baby of other species. I'll show you a few. My partner and I did all the paintings for these. Some of them say Happy Mother's Day and some of them don't, so you can give them out at any time. So there's some bears. They're all downloadable cards. I never really know how to get back out of here when I press on the card. I think I'll have to figure that out. Let me go back here.
I think just close the tab on the top.
On the top?
Yeah. Oh, your Zoom window may be blocking your browser.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. I'll come back to that then. I'll just show you one more so you see that they're all print ready and available to go. I love these elephants here. And on the back, it has our logo, calfandcow.org, and it just says all proceeds go to a sanctuary or a rewilding program. And so all of these are available to print and use for any fundraiser. And maybe after this convergence, there'll be a few more people that want to donate an image that we can make into a card or, like Amit said, maybe a flyer or anything else. Yeah. Okay. So I just wanted to show you a few of those resources as art as advocacy. Again, here is a beautiful piece of Gretchen's art because we're rising to protect the grandchildren of all species. Also, for the resources, during this short period of time, the grandmothers did a food book under resources. So it's part of our toolkit and resources. It's called The Milk of Human Kindness, and it's available to download as well. So we have a PDF and an EPUB book, and it's the Million Vegan Grandmothers, some of our favorite recipes. I think, when we're talking about art as advocacy, all of this stuff is part of that. We have a downloadable sticker that I have on my water bottle, which is over there, so I won't bother getting it. Our logo is available to download. I'm just clicking the downloadable sticker. It's not coming on. We're still working out the glitches for this website. We have community submission and events. Right on the home page, I come back to the home page here. It's a little slow loading. Here we go. We also have videos. So the video that Ray, that we showed today, that Lisa Levington showed, and then this video that Ray did is on there. We will be showing that later on in the convergence. Short videos are a really good way to change people's heart. Just trying to get back here again. I'm not super computer savvy, honestly. And for some reason, this isn't allowing me to go back to the home page. So I'm going to leave it at that. Just a little walkthrough. You can walk through yourself, calfandcow.org. And please, if you'd like to contribute some of your art, and that's where maybe with Gretchen's permission, we can put something beautiful of the possibilities when we're in National Animal Rights Day, I think is what Annette was talking about, which happens in June. And instead of the cruelty, maybe we can show what heaven on earth could look like. And that's what it sounds like is going to happen with Victoria Moran's motion picture, Miss Liberty, which we are all really excited to see. And again, Victoria, give a big shout out to our community with what you need help for, because sometimes just speaking it when two or more get together, it can have a powerful effect. So thank you for letting me share that. Go ahead, Ray and Maggie. Thank you.
That's great. Be sure to check out the website, and there'll be more videos appearing there all the time. I wanted to take a moment to celebrate what Maggie does. She's not a professional artist, but she does art and have a style that she's developed of her own while she's making a living in the world, I'm assuming in a completely non-artistic capacity. But she's become a climate healer and has given her skills to pretty much anything we ask her to do. And that's such an awesome thing that she's been involved in a lot of various projects, including the Land of Ahimsa film that Dolly Sahuja produced. And she helped to fill in some of the concepts of Hindu mythology and theology to give it some life. These are things that you can't illustrate. So you can't film it, you can illustrate it, and she has. And she also, let me just share screen here for a moment. She also helped illustrate the bathtub model for Sailesh Rao's illustration of the burning machine and the killing machine. And there's various clips. I had a bunch of them loaded up right now, but maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's give you a chance to speak. Well, in the meantime, maybe I will play a few of those videos.
Lord Krishna danced on the hood of a seven-headed snake, Kaliya. So that means that he has overcome the seven chakras. So he has opened the seven chakras and he is now enlightened as a child. Lord Krishna lifted a mountain with his little finger, which means that if you believe in Lord Krishna, he will shelter you from the thunderstorm that's happening around you. So it's a symbolic story. It doesn't mean that everyone should be going and lifting mountains with their little fingers. Lord Krishna's stories were all from 5,000 years ago. And a lot of stories are symbolic.
Did you know that Krishna also stole clothes of a bunch of girls and hid on a tree? Would you do that?
I'm going to share another project that kind of came out of the bathtub model that was talking about.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good.
So once again, Maggie, thank you for sharing your art with us. This is something that you do and do well, and you've shared it with us, and you've always made yourself available, and you're a model of how people can share their skills for the animals.
Oh, thank you.
And you're in Norway? I'm
in Norway. It's a little bit past midnight here, but that's okay.
Thanks for hanging in. Could you tell us a bit about how art plays a role in your life and how you share it?
Okay. I've been drawing most of my life for as long as I can remember. I mostly draw cartoons, and I started when I became vegan. A few years later I started to make mostly like fan art, video game characters, and I started, to promote veganism in that way. And then I started getting DMs from people asking me about food and stuff and how they could be more plant-based. And then eventually I wanted to do more serious work and not just, cartoons online. And then I started reaching out to you guys. Yeah.
And we mentioned the bathtub model, you helped not only illustrate it but animate it, because there's a bunch of different scenarios that where the baby in the bathtub that represents us. We must,
Yeah.
the world needs to be rescued from climate change. And it's a concept that Sailesh has described, and it's so helpful to have some sort of visual representation of it. So that was an excellent use of your skills, and thank you for contributing to that. And as he was describing the burning machine and the killing machine, that there's in the bathtub model, there are two faucets, but
Yeah.
we wanted to visualize it and I was kind of inspired by a Miyazaki Howl's Moving Castle to visualize what would these machines look like. And you took some of our instruction and created a landscape. It's a very wide artwork that you used Illustrator or some sort of illustration program.
I actually drew all the line art on paper, and then I
Actually,
used
I'm
my
just
camera.
remembering now. I
Yeah.
remember you had sketches first. That's right.
Yeah, and then I used my camera on the camera on my phone, and then I colored it digitally on, I think it was GIMP, so I used free software.
So after which I took the image and used an editing tool to zoom in on different parts of it and move around to reveal the various elements. So I'll share that right now. And I did a sound design to give it a little bit more realism. So it's very much a multimedia production here. Yeah, you're seeing it?
Yeah, I can see it.
It occurs to me that as I'm watching it that it was very much like when Gretchen took us to examine her huge canvas and look at all the little details here and there. So I don't know how long it took you to create this canvas, which is very wide. You can't
Not
tell
as long
from
as
the
Gretchen.
pan and scan, but it's very wide and narrow. How long did it
take
take
6
you to
years.
make all the parts?
Not 6 years. I think I think most of it was done in 2021, and I didn't work on it continuously. I think it was 2021. It was, yeah. I forgot exactly when I made it. I
And it
think,
only took me a few days, certainly less than a week, to do the pan and scanning and the sound design for it. So my contributions were small. Yours were and largely focused on evoking some life into the scenery that you've created.
because the drawing, it wasn't about, like, it wasn't originally supposed to be like this big canvas drawing. At first, I was just making the burning machine and the killing machine, and then I just started extending it. So,
What has been your experience with using art as advocacy, and do you have any other advocacy that you do?
I'm not sure. Like, 'cause the stuff I do is a bit more like soft advocacy, so I don't. I just don't know if it counts. But I do make like cartoon drawings, and it's a lot of it is focused on vegan foods. I don't really go like very hard on the animal rights message, even though that's the reason why I'm vegan. Um, so it's mostly like cartoon characters. Sometimes it's like characters from popular kids shows, and then I post it online. People notice it, and then sometimes, once in a while, people might send me DMs and ask me about veganism.
And is that what you mean by soft advocacy? You said it's not aggressive, it's not
Yeah,
straight activism or outreach in that sense,
yeah.
but the
It's
outreach is
like,
happening, and people are could be called inreach, I suppose.
yeah. Like 'cause sometimes people they'll send me DMs. They might say that they're not vegan, they could never go vegan, but they're still like interested. And so then maybe they ask me for things like what they could do to eat less animal products. So it's mostly like that. So I'm not quite sure if that counts as advocacy or not. But
I
yeah.
think it absolutely is, and I think I'm very fascinated with the way that people get involved in the movement, because
Yeah.
when you use a word like movement, you're assuming you're talking about people that are meeting in secret rooms and planning
Yeah.
adventures that could end them up arrested or worse. There's examples of
Yeah.
that have been happening to my friends lately. But I think that there's a lot of people that are involved, and a lot of the movement, the actual going from one place to another, is going to be a participatory thing that everybody who is decided to be just vegan, not that kind of vegan, not, reassuring their family and friends that they're not that kind of vegan that you might have seen on the street, standing in a cube of truth or something like that.
No, I haven't done any street activism or anything. It's most of the stuff I do is online, and it's mostly just art. Yeah.
But it is reaching, and the stuff that you've done with climate healers is definitely uh, challenging a lot of people who have very specific ideas of how uh, environmentalism is about climate, and climate is all about fossil fuels. And you've played your role in helping Dr. Rao express this idea of these two machines: the
Yeah.
burning machine that everybody's familiar with, that's the fossil fuel industries and the people that try to preserve that aspect of industry for profit. But there's also this other machine that everybody's kind of ignoring because uh, either because they're employed by it, and or because they're consuming from it, or because they have decided that all the solutions for climate have to be wind turbines and solar panels. And
Yeah.
we know that that's not true. The evidence isn't there that can solve climate change. We have to address our food systems.
Yeah.
So, and that's something that everybody can participate in. So when people are asking you for how do you be vegan, and what sort of things that you need to eat, this is all part of reassuring everybody that not only can they be part of the movement just by being vegan, but they just share these little details that start tearing down the myths that are holding our position, that where we have these anxieties about the what they're calling the poly crisis, all the different things, the nine planetary boundaries, all the different ways that our systems can collapse. But our systems do need to change. So as things are collapsing, we can also be preparing a future that can accommodate it.
Yeah.
We all want that future in which we
Yeah.
thrive and survive. And facts and figures and science isn't going to tell it, but images like your bathtub model that starts to tell people a story. In this case, saving the baby from being drowned. Like, who doesn't want that to happen? We've certainly
Yeah.
framed it as a story.
Yeah.
And
the bathtub model because I at first Silas sent me an email with a simple sketch of what he wanted, so then I tried to illustrate it so it looked a bit more presentable. So that's really how that drawing came about. And then he asked me if I could illustrate it because I have to figure out the numbers, so I had to open an Excel spreadsheet and try to calculate some of it. Yeah. And then I updated a few times because I think like some of the numbers got updated after like a year passed. So I had to sort of reanimate it. Like it wasn't, I didn't do everything from scratch, but that's how those animations were made.
Well, thanks very much
Yeah.
for joining us on stage. I think Tammy probably wanted us to continue with this next segment.
Ray,
We're
before
a
you
half
go,
hour past our time.
No. You have as much time as you want. You
Ray,
have as much time as you want until 7 o'clock, and Rebecca has a question.
Okay, Rebecca.
thank you so
Hi.
much. I've been wanting to get on and say hello to you. I've admired your work so much, and
Oh,
now
thank
to
you.
get to see you, yes. And I wanted to show you what I did with your work. I had it printed
Oh.
that it's one long,
Oh.
long piece of artwork.
The animation, you have no idea how long that thing is.
Right, you can't tell how long it is, and I've taken that to our church group. I've taken it places. I would like to get it where it's flatter, but I managed to tape it up. And the other thing I wanted to say is you've done some other things that you didn't get to show, and you do great little animals and picnics and beautiful. I've seen beautiful scenes with animals in there. And when Tammy mentioned in the chat that maybe you could put some things on the Mother's Day thing, I just think your work would be really fun for that. Some of your
Maybe I could. I'll have to look at what I could. If I find anything that would work there.
okay,
Yeah.
great. As
Yeah.
I just really appreciate your work, and I would show a couple of things that I like, but I can't access my drive, so I just had to show you the one big piece there. So,
Yeah.
but thank you for your work, and it's nice to see you, Maggie.
Oh, thank you. It's nice to see you too.
Maggie has really worked tirelessly she works, I think you work full-time day job, Maggie, and then you come home and you draw and you have given so much of your time and your talent and your very humble, sweet way of coming forward. I feel that beautiful resonance. So thank you so much, Maggie. I know that I remember
Thank
the
you.
first time Silas mentioned you, and I've never been able to see you yet. So it is such an honor to do that. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. It's nice to be able to talk to you too. I've only just seen you on video and on screen, but I think this might be maybe the second time I've talked to you.
Yeah, I think so. We were
Yeah.
talking about a project at one time, but we would love some of your art cards on the website before Mother's Day. If you had little snaps, we will get them designed and put them on there. If you had, like, I know that I noticed on one of the scenes you had a milk truck, and it maybe, yeah, yeah. But you'll come up with something. We know you will. We're not putting any
Yeah.
pressure on you, though, just to let you know
That's
you
okay.
don't have to feel pressured.
That's okay. I'll have to look at what I could do. I'll get back to you when I figure it out.
Now, if there aren't any more questions for Maggie, I had promised Gretchen that I would play the trailer for the Liberty documentary.
Right, and right after that, could you bring Manjutri up to share? She's waiting to share. Silas, did you have a question or a comment like before that? But I just know that Manjutri is still waiting to share a little bit after the trailer, if that's okay, Ray.
Well, yeah, no, I just wanted to say thank you to Maggie for your years of service and for all the art you have contributed to Climate Healers. We are truly indebted to you.
I brag all the time about how I coordinated the
There.
post-production.
I'm unmuted. Thank you.
Ahimsa. across continents. And of course, had a great illustrator who didn't need very much instruction, that she was always available to make revisions in a timely manner.
Thank you.
Do you sleep, Maggie?
I should sleep. It's past midnight. Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming and pleasant dreams.
Yes, thank you, and good night.
Good night.
And Manjushri is still there. She's burned the midnight oil too, or the later than that. Do I understand that she's got a stage production that to talk about?
Yeah.
It's filling in the I wanted to try to get a bunch of different art forms, and we didn't have theatrical stage. So I'm excited to hear about it.
Well, Deborah Elliott has promised to do some movement. She's a dancer, and she's promised to do a movement performance before Mother's Day and have it available. So we'll see if she does. So thank you. And then maybe after Manjushri, you can play the trailer, and we can. Great. I'll let you continue, Ray. You're doing a great job.
Yeah. So I also made a play. I created a play called Bhag Lal to Bhag. It's about the dairy industry, and I have animals playing as beings playing as animals in that play. So you
Can you repeat the name of it again?
Bhag Lal to Bhag. It's uploaded on Climate Healers. Recently, it got uploaded. Yeah.
What can you tell us about it? We haven't got it ready to play right now, but unless somebody does. How long is it?
The actual play is only about 25 minutes long. But the question answer session which we had after the play, that's also included in the video. Yeah. So it's about 45 minutes it comes to.
How many people are in it?
The number of characters on stage, I think 7 or 8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I wrote the script, and I got a professional stage director to direct, and we got professional actors to act. Yeah.
Excellent. What's the pitch? What's the topic?
The topic is basically an Indian cowshed, Indian tabela, and it has one cow, it has one buffalo, and it has one street dog. There's a free dog with them, and they all have conversations. And then a newborn calf is a calf is born to the cow, and how the things change after the calf comes into the picture. And then there are these two characters who are running the show, sort of, who are taking care of the tabela, the human beings. So how they interact with the animals, and everybody's talking, and you can hear them talking. Like, you can understand, the audience can understand what the animals are talking to each other, also what the humans are talking to each other. Yeah.
So the animals are played by humans?
Yeah.
As humans.
Yeah.
Look, I'm picturing cats.
You want to see a few minutes of it? I can share.
Yeah, that would be good to see just what it looks like.
And also, Manjushri was asked to talk about her new documentary because it's relevant to the theme of this convergence. So maybe after that, she can share about her documentary.
Yeah.
You have a lot of projects on the go. That's great.
Yeah.
And in different mediums too.
जानवर को काट करके खा जाते हैं, जानवर में से दूध निकाल के पी जाते हैं। गाय दूध देती है, लेकिन वो गाय दूध देती अपने बछड़े के लिए, आपके लिए नहीं देती कि आप निकाल करके उसको गर्म करके चाय बना करके पिए।
जीवन का खेला है, सुख दुख का मेला है, सुख दुख का मेला है। का मेला है।
जीवन बस एक खेला है, सुख दुख का मेला है।
अरे जीवन बस एक खेला है, सुख दुख का मेला है।
जीवन बस एक खेला है, सुख दुख का मेला है। अलबेला का बेला है ये, अलबेला का बेला। अलबेला का बेला है ये, अलबेला का बेला।
आप सबको नमस्कार करता हूं और प्रभु का नाम लेकर इस नाटक का शुभारंभ करता हूं। नाटक का आधार हूं मैं, अदना सा कलाकार हूं मैं, जो एक सूत्र में सबको पिरोए वही सूत्रधार हूं मैं।
अलबेला का बेला है ये, अलबेला का बेला। अलबेला का बेला है ये, अलबेला का बेला।
जीवन बस खेला है, सुख दुख का मेला है।
अलबेला का बेला है ये, अलबेला का बेला। अलबेला का बेला है ये, अलबेला का बेला।
आइए इस तबेले की आपको सैर कराऊं और प्यारे से इस परिवार का आपसे परिचय कराऊं। ये हमारी गैया मखना है, इनका ध्यान सभी को रखना है। इनसे उम्मीदें हैं सबकी ढेर सारी, क्योंकि अब इनकी
माँ बनने की बारी है, माँ बनने की बारी। माँ बनने की बारी है, माँ बनने की बारी।
ये तबेले की सबसे समझदार भैंस है जुलू मौसी। खनक जाए माथा तो कर दे सबकी ऐसी तैसी। इसीलिए सबका यही कहना है कि
मौसी जैसी कोई नहीं, कोई नहीं, कोई नहीं। मौसी जैसी कोई नहीं, कोई नहीं, कोई नहीं।
ये है शोक चंचल कुत्ती धम्मी। गली में इनकी धाक बड़ी है पर जरा नक चढ़ी है।
गली में इसके धाक बड़ी है, क्या हुआ जो नक चढ़ी है। गली में इसके धाक बड़ी है, क्या हुआ जो नक चढ़ी है।
नक चढ़ी ये दम्मी है जी, नक चढ़ी ये दम्मी। नक चढ़ी ये दम्मी है जी, नक चढ़ी ये दम्मी।
ये कपिल हैं और ये उनकी पत्नी गोपिका। इस कहानी के दो खास किरदार यानी इस तबेले के सरदार। तो प्रस्तुत है हमारा नाटक भाग लालटू भाग।
अलबेला का बेला है ये, अलबेला का बेला। अलबेला का बेला है ये, अलबेला का बेला।
जीवन बस खेला है, सुख दुख का मेला है।
अलबेला का बेला है ये, अलबेला का बेला। अलबेला का बेला है ये, अलबेला का बेला।
मुझे तो यकीन ही नहीं हो रहा, कितना खूबसूरत।
Even with the language barrier, I can identify the people with the rope around their necks have to be the animals. Was
Yes, of
the
course.
who was
Actually,
the dog?
I have subtitles.
The dog
The
there?
whole thing in, yeah, the subtitles are there in English. I don't know why it was not uploaded. Like there's some problem with playing the subtitles.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I saw
couldn't
it
find the
tried-
subtitles in English. If you could send, I don't know what happened. It only had Hindi subtitles, auto-generated.
Right.
And you can't really do auto-generated subtitles with singing. It doesn't usually work out very well. So was the dog one of the characters in that scene?
Yes, that was one of the dogs. Yeah, dummy. Yeah.
But the dog was not tied up.
No, the dog is free. It's a street dog. She's a street
Right.
dog. Yeah.
So there's already that interplay of those
Right.
animals that we love and the animals that we eat and exploit.
Right. Yeah.
There's also a caste system between the cow and the buffalo. She brings all of that.
Oh yeah. And there kind of is a caste system between the two because one is protected and the other one's not.
Right.
Yeah. One has 33,000 goddesses inside her, and the other one doesn't.
Was that the dog was played by a girl?
Yeah. All the animals are, except for the little boy who plays the calf. All the others are females. the cow, buffalo, and the dog, 3 females.
And so I picked up that the dog was very happy not to be tied up.
Yeah, correct.
You can send the video with the subtitles. We'll
I'll do
upload.
that.
We'll put all the links to all the different media into the this YouTube when it's done recording and people are watching this, they'll be able to play the links directly,
Sure.
including the trailer that I can play in the other little piece of the video.
So tell us about the new documentary you're working on.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So can I share my screen with my PPT?
Yes, you can, Manjushri. Yes, you can.
Yeah. So this is the title of the film will be In Search of Ahimsa Milk. It's basically it's an empathetic investigation on bovine mastitis in India. So when I went vegan 4.5 years ago, I had a lot of questions about the dairy industry, and I used to go to the different cow sheds, the tabelas near my house, and I used to keep on taking photographs. So basically, my first question was towards myself, that why have I not been able to see that this is so wrong? Why was I blindfolded? Like I kept on thinking about that, and then when I was taking these pictures, I later on I realized that there's something amiss, and I was wondering why I noticed the rope that is tied to the cow's legs. For the first time, I saw that rope, and I started asking questions to these people who were milkmen, that why do you tie her legs?
The bottom left.
Yeah, but no, it's a whole different thing.
Oh,
I
sorry.
think somebody else's audio is on. Yeah.
It's hard to claim that cows give milk when they have to be tied up for it to be taken.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So I mean this the fact that her legs are tied up while she's milking. This made me realize that there must be more to it than meets the eye. So I used to ask them that why do you tie her legs? Why not just milk her directly? And then all of them had a story about how someone in their ancestral family, either their grandfather or somebody or uncle or somebody, he was kicked by the cow, and some of them died because of that kick, because that kick was so powerful. So I went to this another Krishna temple Gaushala, which was basically run by these Orange Road people, sannyasis. And I saw this cow who was looking very sad, and she had a very huge udder. And so when she was, I took her picture before she was milked. And then these people came and said to me that I dare not take any more photographs when she's being milked. So I said, okay. And then they tied her up in such a brutal manner. They made her head down, and they tied her horns to the pole. And they tied her feet also very, very tightly. And then they started milking her. And I was very upset seeing how she's been tied up. And I went close to her and I saw that the milk was slightly pink in color. And so I realized that there must have been some blood in the whole process.
And they asked you not to film it when they were milking.
No.
Clearly,
They did not allow me to film.
knowing that they felt some level of guilt and they didn't want to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I got this illustration made out of the thing for this PPT, and I did some of my own research about it, and I realized that cow must have been suffering from mastitis. So I got very interested in this topic, and I started doing more research on this. And whatever information I could gather about it was basically productivity driven, meaning they talked about how it is a loss-making disease and how the quality of the milk, it gets blood in it and it gets pus in it and all that. So whereas I was exposed to it through the pain of the cow, the animal, how painful it must be. So although this information was very useful, it did not really work for me in the sense that I was more interested in what happens to the animal when she gets that disease and all that. So I got myself this California mastitis test kit, and we started. Sorry. So I organized this team of vegan activists from all over India, and we started testing the cows and the buffaloes, fresh samples of milk. And we tested about 350 samples. And this picture below, this this basically shows that the white of it is the pus cells, So when there are a lot of pus cells in the milk, then it becomes white and milky, and I mean the liquid, and it becomes like a gel, and that's how you know that it's positive. And we got it was very disheartening to know that 92% of all the animals whom we tested were positive for mastitis. So I did some more research on the prevalence factor of bovine mastitis, and I realized that it's a very very highly prevalent disease in cattle. And so I was wondering why is nobody declaring a cow demic or a bovine demic, because it's such a serious issue. And so I started doing some research on the causes of mastitis. And if you see in this picture, the position of the thumb and the fingers when the milking is done, even that is such that the thumb is in direct touch with the teat. So trauma, that is injury during the milking, must be happening. I mean, these are all my inferences, that they are not really what the information I got from the veterinary doctors or from internet. These are all my inferences, most of them, that water is not saliva, and so it's not natural lubrication, things like that. And so this was an image from one of the cows who I had tested, and she was very, one of her teats was bleeding during milking, and I took her picture. And yeah, so the system of tying up an animal for 24 hours by a 3-foot rope, that system itself is, the situation was so bad, it was such a disheartening thing for me to do all this research, that I realized that the system itself is creating the disease, the system of dairy industry. And I was looking at the psychological aspect of it, and then I found out somebody who's talked about this, and they talk about separation anxiety, that in the presence of her own calf who is hungry, the cow cannot feed the calf, so, and she's denied some natural instincts like mating, socializing, grazing, all these things. So these were the most important factors which contributed to the mastitis. Then, so to understand this better, I'm asking you all to do a thought experiment. So imagine that we restrict a lactating mother to breastfeeding only twice a day. And I asked this question to a gynecologist, and he confirmed that yes, all these things are going to happen. That if the lady is allowed to breastfeed only twice a day, as opposed to many times what naturally a mother would feed her baby. So these things will happen, and she will get definitely severe mastitis. And severe mastitis, basically, it leads to painful feeding. And basically, a mother can tolerate this for her baby for a few days, But cows and buffaloes are tolerating this kind of pain for us all the time, all their lives, all their working lives, so-called working lives. So So this gynecologist told me that the first thing they do when they get a patient who complains of mastitis is they ask, are you doing regular breast? Are you feeding regularly? So, I basically drew this chart up to understand why mastitis is not being controlled. Like there are so many different ways of they are trying out herbal remedies and basically it is antibiotics which create antimicrobial resistance also. But they keep on coming up with different different solutions for mastitis for cows and buffaloes. But they never think of it this way, that if they just let the mothers and the calves together, then that is the solution basically. That way the mastitis would stop, would get healed on its own. So the only Ahimsa milk is that which is given voluntarily. And every glass of commercially available milk is extracted from sick animals. So the conclusion is that there is no such thing as Ahimsa milk. Because even a healthy cow is not really giving milk voluntarily because of the fact that she has to be restrained. There has to be a rope around her neck and her legs. So there is no such thing as Ahimsa milk. So this is my documentary, which I'm planning to do, and it's being funded by the Pollination Project. And I would like to invite anyone who would like to volunteer and be a part of my group, my team, So I would like to invite anybody who's feels strongly about this issue. Yeah. So that's the end of my presentation.
That's so great that you did the research. Did you record the research as you were doing it? Like, did you record video of that? Or is that what you would do again just to demonstrate it?
Actually, I connected with some animal rights activists on how to do the research, and they asked me to record the whole thing with a timestamp app, So all the tests which all of us did, they have all been recorded on the timestamp camera app. So I have proof of that. Yes.
Is Dr. Rao involved in the project as well?
No.
I was asking because he was involved in the production of The Land of Ahimsa with Dolly Vyasahuja. Have you seen that documentary?
Oh, yes, of course. I saw it. In fact, I met Dolly also when she came to Ahmedabad. Yeah, that was
and
the
you've
first
seen
time I
Makadood.
Yeah.
So everybody loves a trilogy. So this would be a great third film. When we finished Land of Ahimsa, we were like, okay, now we got to make a sequel because there's so many topics we didn't cover. And then Makadood came out and we went, oh, there's the sequel.
Yeah.
But when people make these documentaries, there's so much extra material and so many topics that just don't fit into a natural 90-minute documentary. We've seen that with Cowspiracy begat
Cowspiracy.
What the Health, and then Cowspiracy became kind of a trilogy because they saw how the pharmaceutical industry played a role into it, and the story was so big they went, this is a whole new documentary. So it'd be great to see how this story attaches on to the other two. There is overlap between Land of Ahimsa and Makadood, but in a way that really just reinforces rather than feels redundant. So this will be exciting to further the narrative. And like in Land of Ahimsa, India is where everything's going to happen. We have so many people. I'm in Canada, but in the United States, everybody's convinced the United States is going to lead the way. The United States is the biggest part of the problem. Everybody's looking at the United States. Everybody, and they're exporting the American lifestyle everywhere, and that has to stop. But India needs to export its lifestyle, but first it's got to clean up the dairy.
Yes, correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Manju. We are so honored that you were able to come in here and share, and we're really looking forward to putting all these resources on Calf and Cow as well as Climate Healers. And I think you said that your documentary is going to be done by September. I think you were hoping to be done by
October, end of October.
October. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's just move to a few minutes to see if anyone that had said they wanted to come in and do an update for ICCMD. I have a few more updates, but those can wait till tomorrow because we do have our student here that's going to present in about 10 minutes. And then Allison's going to come on and talk about the project she's going to do with tree planting, and there's going to be a link on Calf and Cow with our own project for Calf and Cow for tree planting. So I'm wondering, is there anybody that would like to raise their hand that has said they would like to come in during this time and talk about what they're going to do for Mother's Day? Any updates? I see Jamin has raised his hand and
Shankar.
Okay. Yeah. Come in, Jamin.
You all set?
Yeah, fast, you're like.
Okay, I'm back.
Great.
Okay, there we go. Great. Thank you so much. And well, huge kudos to you, Tammy, for providing such amazing heartful and soulful leadership to for Calf and Cow and International Calf and Cow Mother's Day. Just really inspiring working with you and just being blessed by the beautiful interactions and your leadership and the whole team and community you've brought together. So thank you.
Jamin really did a good job with the specs for the website. So thank you for that, Jamin.
My pleasure. An honor to be a part of it. Anyway, so actually that weekend, Silas and I are going to be at this conference in the state of Washington that Silas mentioned earlier. So I would like to offer that we honor Calf and Cow Mother's Day for both those days, which will be concurrent with the conference. And so if you have any creative thoughts, because there's going to be hundreds of people there, like, I don't know, 500 people or something, and another 1,000 or who knows how many online. So, and these are leaders in, healing, regenerating, restoring the planet. And my goodness, we've got so much to do in that regard. And secondarily, just I'd like to offer for your consideration and everyone's thoughts and consideration is, since we're fast approaching a point where we're going to launch Hungerless in Seattle and literally transform Seattle into the first vegan metropolis, right? And it happens to be the #1 trend-setting city in the world. Maybe we say this is International Calf and Cow Mother's Day in action, right? Here we're boots on the ground and we're shutting down the killing machine, including dairy, or starting with dairy, or however we want to phrase it. Anyway, I've spoken enough, and it's great to be here. And also, not only have you been getting ready for Mother's Day, but I think you've played the major role of anyone in organizing this V-COP, to my knowledge, having supported here and there. But anyway, so huge thanks to you, Tammy, and kudos and gratitude, and passing the feather.
Thanks so much, Jamin, and thanks for that shout out. I really appreciate it. It was quite a bit of juggling between the two of them, but 19 people showed up for tech of our community, and I felt so supported. I felt like I could literally relax into the Convergence this weekend, and it's beautiful to see. But it was a real honor to be able to find the speakers and organize that, because there's such a wealth of veganism in this community. And when you were mentioning some of the things, we have tons of resources on our website. So let's get some of those printed out, some of the pamphlets, some of the signs, some of the banners for the night. Is it the 9th and 10th you're doing that in Seattle?
It's outside of Seattle. It's a couple hours from Seattle to the northwest Port Townsend Peninsula, and it's this beautiful basically old park area there with plenty of housing. So yeah, it's like a 4-day thing. I think it's really 8th, 9th, and 10th. Yeah, so definitely 9th and 10th as the
That's
finale,
perfect.
so we can get people ready. And then, if there's a ceremony we can do, if there's a song we can sing, let's think in those terms as well.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. One of the things that Anita from Plant-Based Treaty and I were talking, and she said that there's a big initiative that goes on around the world, especially, I think it started in Australia. It's called Meatless May. And I said, let's get them to change that to Milkless and Meatless May. And she's all in on that one. And then we will make, like Veganuary, we will make May for Mothers. So that'll be the other big campaign that will come. There's a lot of activists. So as far as I'm giving updates, there's a lot of activists that want to have something really big this year, because a lot of people next year, a lot of people really just found out about this, and they're going to put together what they can. But this is going to be a growing movement for the whole year, and because every day is Mother's Day. Go ahead, Shankar. Thank you. Thank you for all your work. And I was talking about you this morning, that you are the great connector, Shankar.
Thank you.
I think you know everyone, but you just know how to connect everyone. I always just feel like, does Shankar know? Like, I had an issue with my daughter not being able to get back from Mexico. Shankar knew somebody that's staying in Mexico near where my daughter was and hooked us up on Facebook. I'm like, Shankar, do you know somebody everywhere? So thank you. And Shankar invited me to come speak at a pretty large celebration awards ceremony for some children in India this morning. I'm like, okay, well, let's just, and it was so lovely. The children were so lovely. The presenters were so lovely, and they were so open for me, being able to talk about, we're here for the children of all species and their homes. And so that was such an honor, because in the future they want us to work with the children. So that'll be a beautiful project for us, climate healers and the grandmothers. And yeah, thank you. So go ahead, Shankar.
Thank you. Okay. So in fact, the kids are interested now in the climate healer certification, because it's a summer project for them. So, and Dr. Jayanti, who kind of volunteered or leading this effort there, she said she'll make arrangements to watch all the documentaries. And I think I was talking to Alison also to make sure they have to volunteer for the V-COP so they can learn a lot and everything, not just things. It's all in the way, maybe for the Mother's Day, so we can combine a certification or something, so that it will be a good immersion. Some of the kids, they do want they want to feel that way. They're gonna resonate it later in their life or reflect it later. So that's all we can expect from kids now. A lot of people do understand that. So I went through the website. The walkthrough of the website was amazing. There is so much areas, and it's a good way to sign up, a good way to participate. And probably we can even create, already there is in the Facebook or the Instagram or even in the WhatsApp, we can create a channel. So that will help us to kind of blend the community all over the world, because they all use different social medias. And the response is good. The participation is good. For example, today we saw Sudha joined, she reached out through the WhatsApp. That's why every channel is very good. We had a good interaction before this call, and what she shared was amazing. And then I requested probably her to be in the call. While you're here, then she came into the call. Yeah. So it's always people are all the arts coming together. So probably I will help on how we can take this information more to a different reach and a different channel. I'm very excited about that, me and everyone.
Great. Thanks, Shankar. And Toby and Rebecca, and then we have our intern, a beautiful intern, Pooja, is going to be doing a presentation for us right after this. So we'll, right now actually, so we'll take these last two questions, and then we'll bring up Pooja. Hi, Toby.
Yeah. We had a friend over just before, I was watching the V-COP, and I was explaining about the calf and cow Mother's Day, and explaining how, in the dairy industry, you need to have a mother and a baby to be able to produce the milk. That's where it comes from. And we had some mock beef on nachos, and we were eating it, and she said how good it was, and I says, well, that's not a mother, you know, like the meat is not a spent dairy cow, because basically what it would be, and it's a lot more sensitive when you put it that way, and it's a lot more like understanding of how serious this is, you know, how relatable it is. But I think it kind of gets to have that honest awareness when you're speaking to somebody and then really understanding what you're meaning, because the response was, well, you know, we use we have pregnant cows that we kill to get a leather that has a certain smell, and we do that on purpose so we can get a certain smelling leather. And I thought, well, is that real? Is that a real thing? Or I don't think that's a real thing, surely. But you know, that honest connection, I think, is sometimes troubling or hard for people to have that, you know, honest conversation. People just to open up. And I feel like when it's just a reflection like that, it's something that someone's hiding maybe from themselves. You know, they need to be honest, speak honestly. But yeah, so it's definitely a very good way to explain the meat industry, because it is the exploitation of the reproductive system of animals, isn't it? So it really hits deep on all issues we talk about, like I said before, about, you know, feminism and exploitation of all in all sorts of ways, you know, so it definitely cuts deep. But it's something that we really need to talk about, even if it's at a dinner table, you know, even if it puts you off your food, you want to say, well, this is, you know, we need to be honest about what we're actually doing here. So it can be awkward, can't it? But you want that honesty between each other.
Thank you, Toby. And I think that's one of, like, when we're talking about ICCMD updates during this time, what we're talking about is how do we share the message? And that's what I hear from you, that this is, for me, this has given me deep strength to talk when I wouldn't have talked about it, you know, and in that way that it's like, oh my gosh, do you know that the babies are taken away from their mother when they're born? Like, and they're usually killed. And I actually don't watch a lot of videos. I watched only what I had to when I went vegan, but I actually didn't know cows cried so much and calves cried so much. And I talk about that now to people that aren't vegan. So what I hear you say is that, you know, this is so easy in some ways, not necessarily for people to hear, but it's a very compassionate entry point into conversations around veganism. And I think when you're talking about updates, it's what are we going to bring forward, and that's it. I believe this movement's going to give us much more strength to talk about mamas and babies and to really, really bring it home, really, really bring it home. So thanks, Toby, for continuing to talk about it and sharing that message. And that's part of what we're going to be doing now as well. Thank you.
Sorry, I just had to say one more thing. I've got my first speech. I'll be giving my first lecture at school on the 11th and on the 12th. So I'm quite excited for that. There's something that kind of touches on that I do say in my lecture on a slide is, if I can find it here, just a minute, by Philip Wallen. It says, as I travel around the world, I see poor countries who sell their grain to the West while their children starve in their arms, and the West feeds it to livestock so we can eat a steak. Am I the only one who sees this as a crime? Believe me, every morsel of meat we eat is slapping the tear-stained face of a hungry child. And, you know, like, it's pretty crude, but it's opens up your eyes, doesn't it? But that's a mother and child kind of thing, isn't it? Really. Yeah. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Rebecca? And then we'll be ready to bring you up, Pooja.
Thank you, Tammy. I have thought that there wasn't any way I could do anything for this Calf and Cow Mother's Day, but now, this past day or so, I was realizing that our Unitarian Universalist group in town has not been meeting. We have a women's group that meets, and they decided not to meet for a few months. And I thought, wait a second, if 3 or 4 of us get together and say we want to meet and have a Calf and Cow Mother's Day event, then we could do it at that time slot. And so if I, and then I could show a film, but now I have the logistics of, I have a little bitty laptop, and so I want the film to be big enough they can see it. But that's what I'm working on. But that is on the 10th. And I'm wondering if that would be okay to do that on that day, or does it need to be on the 9th?
No, no, no. The 10th is actually the Mother's Day. So we decided to do it over the weekend. And
Okay.
you know, I think Mother's Day is in March in the UK. But so any time is great to bring the message. But yeah, you'll actually be showing it right on Mother's Day in the States anyways, in Canada and many, I think Germany is the same weekend. And thank you, Rebecca. You know, films can be a really powerful impact. So thank you.
Yes, yes. All right. Thank you.
So Allison is going to present at the very end of this at 10 to the hour. And right now, I would like to introduce Pooja Gopal. And she is Climate Healer student. I'm probably predominantly Silasha student, but I asked if she would do a presentation for this convergence. And it's been such a gift getting to know you, Pooja. And she's going to show us if we stop dairy and even the comparison if we were growing soy on the land instead of dairy. So go ahead, Pooja. And thank you. Thank you very much for being here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Pooja. I am from Bangalore, India, and I'm doing my master's in climate change and sustainability. I'm interning with Dr. Rao and Climate Healers, as Tammy just mentioned. We are researching specific topics related to the environmental impacts of animal agriculture in India, specifically. I've been a vegan for 13 years now, and I feel truly aligned with the group here. I really enjoyed being part of this convergence today, listening to all the presentations and discussions. Thank you all. Let me just share my screen. My topic for today's presentation is exploration of ethical, environmental, and economic impacts of dairy farming in the Indian context. Ahimsa, or non-violence, is one of the core principles of all religions that originated in India. Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism. Is India really the land of Ahimsa? Let's look at some facts. Dairy animals in India are primarily cows and buffaloes. The Hindus, who comprise of almost 80% of India's population, consider the cow sacred and a symbol of wealth and abundance. Milk and milk products are used in worship by many Indian religions. There is purity associated with milk and milk products that are also considered medicinal according to Ayurveda, which is an ancient system of medicine in India. A motherly bond is associated with a cow, and dairy consumption is considered a religious right and duty. While the fact that the same act abuses the motherly bond between the cow and calf is disregarded. Around 55% of India's milk production comes from the buffalo. Cow slaughter is banned in most Indian states, but there's no such restrictions for the buffaloes. These bans also lead to religious violence between Hindus and Muslims, two major religions in India, and are the cause of inhumane live transport of cattle across hundreds of kilometers. India is a hotbed of violence against vulnerable people from marginalized communities who are accused of abetting the slaughter of cows. The association of dairy with beef is not realized by the populations in India who consider themselves ethical vegetarians. India is one of the few countries with constitutional provisions for animal protection, but faces severe implementation failures due to funded enforcement, outdated laws, fragmented authorities, and foremost of all, fundamental contradictions in the Constitution. Let's look at some of them. Article 51A G states that it is the duty of all citizens to protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, and wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures. In view of this, the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act was passed in 1960, which aims to prevent unnecessary pain or suffering on animals. And dairy is such an unnecessary thing that's causing so much pain and suffering. In stark contradiction, animal farming commodifies animals, disregarding their capacity for suffering. Further, the industry is a leading cause of deforestation, biodiversity loss, pollution, and climate change. The Constitution also grants people the right to food, Article 21, and livelihood from Article 19, which courts have extended to include animal farming and consumption. Can one be compassionate to animals while also confining, forcefully breeding, repeatedly impregnating, and slaughtering animals for food? Article 48 urges the state to organize animal husbandry along modern and scientific lines. The same article urges the state to prohibit slaughter of cows, calves, and other milch and drought cattle. But if we stop such slaughter while continuing to consume dairy, it can very quickly become both economically and environmentally unsustainable. Dairy farming fundamentally contradicts the constitutional value of compassion towards animals. Can we address the violence and suffering of animals and create a society that practices compassion for all living creatures? We know this is possible and, in fact, necessary from the work of Dr. Rao and climate healers. We think that we are prioritizing human rights over compassion towards animals, but is this inhumane way of producing food benefiting human societies at all? Let's look at the environmental and economic aspects of dairy farming through some systems diagrams. First of all, why does the government promote dairy industry? India is the leading producer of dairy in the world, producing more than 2 times the amount of USA, which stands second. It is also the leading producer of beef and leather. These industries are highly interlinked. The dairy industry contributes to 4% of the national GDP, which is significant. It produces direct employment to 80 million farmers. So if we look at this diagram, so we have the dairy, beef, and leather industry that are creating profits and adding to the economy. The government is subsidizing and promoting the dairy industry, which is resulting in more number of cattle in the country, which is again adding to more beef, dairy, and leather, which is adding to the economy. So this is a reinforcing loop. It continues being so if no external interventions are made. we see from the 2026 budget that shows a 27% increase and the highest ever allocation to the Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairying. The higher amount of subsidies also indicates that the industry itself may not be as profitable as it claims to be. So, are the cattle happy? So, cattle are basically grazing animals, and most Indian consumers of dairy who are not farmers would like to imagine cows and buffaloes happily grazing outside, like the one in this picture on the left. But that is not the reality. India has lost more than 50% of its grazing lands in the last 50 years, mostly due to overgrazing and expansion of agricultural lands. Stall feeding of cattle, where the cattle are tied up in one place throughout their lives, is becoming a norm. And once these cattle become unproductive, they are left stray and they survive by eating garbage. So looking at this diagram, the more number of milch cattle are the cattle that produce milk, the more would the non-milch cattle be. So both of these would have free range cattle that which would have lesser and lesser grazing land per head, and which would lead to overgrazing, more degradation of land, and which would make stall feeding more prominent. The White Revolution 2.0, launched by the government in 2024, aims to increase milk production by 50% in 5 years, in just 5 years. So are the people healthy with dairy-rich diets? So the more stall feeding becomes prominent, there's more need for having antibiotics and productivity supplements. The cattle are less healthy, and we have diseases such as the lumpy skin disease, foot and mouth disease, bovine brucellosis, and mastitis that was spoken about, which is becoming more and more common amongst cattle in India. And with more antibiotics and productivity supplements that need to be introduced to the cattle, the profits available for the dairy farmer will reduce. This is also negatively impacting the human health. Both of these negatively impact the economy. What about the big picture, the environmental impacts? The more cattle there are, more use of water, more use of land, more emissions that leads to global warming, less forests, less available stocks of fresh water and land, more imbalance in the biogeochemical flow. All of these lead to poor environmental health, and all these loops that we see are reinforcing loops. So they continue degrading the water and land and causing more emissions unless intervened upon. Let's look at some statistics here. India's dairy sector is responsible for 63% of the total agricultural emissions and over 90% of methane emissions. India has over 300 million cattle whose biomass exceeds the biomass of humans, and both of these groups are competing for the same limited resources of land and water. So how do the dots connect? So we have profits from the dairy industry, which is a reinforcing loop, adding to the country's economy. But this is not enough to counter the negative externalities of degrading quality of human and environmental health. Both of these negatively impact the economy. So there is evidence all around us of the vanishing grazing lands, the vanishing forests, and that dairy farmers are not getting the returns that are promised, and that there is more and more antibiotic resistance amongst the population. How much more evidence do we want before we can connect the dots and take action? Is there a solution? Yes. Going vegan can significantly reduce the impacts on most planetary boundaries, as we see from Dr. Rao's work. Here are some quick calculations that I did, considering the dairy production of 3 countries, India, USA, and New Zealand. Here we are comparing the savings from drinking soy milk versus dairy milk. I chose to consider soy because its protein content is comparable to that of dairy. And we see that there would be 96% lower water footprint, 93% lower land use, and 70% lower emissions. What about the 80 million dairy farmers? Most of these farmers come from marginalized communities as smallholders or even landless. And yes, we need to think about just transitions for them. And we may want to avoid looking at this in isolation or just in the lens of agriculture, but through the lens of transitioning more to a more sustainable world and humanity's efforts towards climate mitigation and adaptation. That also includes energy transitions and our transition towards a circular economy. So there are additional jobs that will be created in each of the sectors. And we can also think of some solutions like mushroom farming, which are low input farming and which can be ideal for landless dairy farmers. We are researching more on this. Yeah. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Pooja. So, Pooja, I have a question. How's your learning curve been and integration since you started working with climate healers? How's that been for you?
Every week's discussions gives me so many insights, and I look upon each topic. I've been reading up on all the points I get from the discussions, but yeah, I need to more do focus study because my internship is only for 8 weeks. Actually, only 7 more weeks are left. This is the 3rd week. So yeah, I wish to continue doing research on this, but yeah, little more focused effort to get some results before the completion of the internship. It's been great, Tammy, and thanks to you and Amit also for joining every week's meetings.
Thank you. Thank you. I see Rebecca has a question.
I really appreciate seeing what you've done. I had a question about the percentages of water usage. Right now, we're in a drought, and a lot of people are, and so they're interested in water. And I wasn't on the screen long enough to know if that was from the United States, the worldwide usage, or India. So maybe if I go back and watch it, but maybe you could tell me.
Sure. So what I have considered in doing these calculations are the dairy production of each country. So we see the amounts are different in the graphs, but I've considered global averages for land and water consumption and not country-specific data. So the percentage savings would be the same for each country in these calculations that I presented. And yes, land and water are such local issues that maybe if you say people in India about emissions, they may not care so much because it's a global issue. But India is also one of the most highly water stressed countries in the world. So yeah, focusing on these issues may have more impact on how much savings can happen just by, shifting our diets and not consuming dairy.
Thank you so much, Pooja. Thank you. We're going to have our keynote speaker in 15 minutes, and Dakota and Allison were going to come up. Oh, Shankar had a quick question, and then Allison and Dakota are going to come up and tell us about an initiative they're going to do for International Calf and Cow Mother's Day and the initiative that they're already working on. Thanks, Shankar.
Thank you, Debbie. Hello, Pooja. It's a wonderful compilation of the segment of information, and also I'm curious now, like, is there any other problems, especially in this thing are we venturing into? It looks like a cascade of issues and all these things are going on. I know we already told a polycrisis, but from your research, just want to know, or even you saw something more, like, for example, like is like a mental illness or something because of the resource shortage or scarcity, anything that you want to alert, or if you're going to explore that, fine, but just want to give a light. Any new areas of problem, any new areas that we have not found out, and that is.
Sure. So what we are trying to do is, trying to make these connections from the data that's available, because especially in the Indian context, we see that the connection between dairy's environmental impacts is not yet made. We speak about the environmental impacts of the Green Revolution, which also focused heavily on production and output. The White Revolution also is very similar, where the focus was only on output. And the government is actually promoting dairy even more. It's highly politicized, and they're actually, looking at what people, want, and yeah. So there is the launch of White Revolution 2.0, which, with such high production targets, in just 5 years, they want to double, increase by 50%. And, I can't imagine the degradations that would cause. So yeah, it's important to highlight with data and make this, more spoken about. So, people realize that, it's not sustainable, and what all negative impacts it can have in other sectors. We need to make those connections. Yeah.
Thank you. It's a wonderful research, and we are even curious to see how you're compiling all this at the end. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
We're running really tight with time, Jamin. Is your question pretty quick?
Yeah, super quick. So the government's support of increasing 50% the production in 5 years, is that because 80 million people are employed, which has got to be the largest segment of employment in the whole country, and they want to increase the prosperity of those 80 million and their families? Is that the basic idea?
No, that is the reason given in front for sure. It's always about the marginalized smallholder dairy farmers. But as Dr. Rao points out, it's also the beef industry, which is majorly exported. Beef is exported to other countries. So that is also giving in lot of foreign currency, like which
Okay.
also, is very important, yeah, for buying in
Yeah, so
beef
it's
oil and other things.
yeah, the downstream beef industry. Totally got it. Okay, thank you, Pooja. Great work.
Yeah, thank you.
Great question, Jamin, because as Pooja, has been talking about in our meetings, is that, the India is one of the largest exporters of beef, and they don't have any cattle ranches. So this is all spent mothers. So thank you. Thank you again, Pooja. And maybe we will be looking at your presentation on climate healers. We would love to see how you do in your work and your next 8 weeks. And great to see how we're excited to see what's going to transpire out of the next 8 weeks. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Allison.
and thank you for this. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Pooja.
Yeah, thank you for organizing this convergence, and I really appreciate the efforts, and it's been great. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Sorry for cutting you off. Allison and Dakota are part of Rewilding and tree planting, and they're up here to share a little bit of the initiative that we're going to have on the website, Calf and Cow, and what they are
Yes.
already well into. So go ahead, take it away before our keynote speaker in 12 minutes. Thank
Yeah,
you.
as a matter of fact, what we're going to talk about is very much related to what the next speaker will be talking about. We're going to be talking about mothers and babies in danger of extinction. So it's a subject very much related to the International Calf and Cow Mother's Day because mothers of all species are implicated in the way of life that we're living in Planet A. So, yes, I'm Allison, and I'm a volunteer with Climate Healers. I'm part of the Convergence team, and I'm also part of the Climate Healers Vegan Rewilding team. And Dakota here is a very close friend and colleague working with me on a project. Dakota, go ahead and say a word about yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here with you on this convergence. And I've been climate healer now for 3 years. And although a practical nurse by training, I feel like this is my occupation now. And I'm on the vegan rewilding team. I'm working on a project with Pro Boat's project to address faith communities about veganism. And I'm also working on writing a book on the history of climate healers. So glad to be here.
Thanks. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and start. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So this is a presentation about the mothers and babies in danger of extinction. And as we celebrate Mother's Day, we should keep in mind that mothers of nearly 10,000 species are fighting extinction this very year. There we go. So these mothers won't get flowers and they won't get chocolates this Mother's Day. They're busy deciding how to keep their babies alive just one more day. So what good is such a Mother's Day? Mothers and babies of around 150,000 species have gone extinct in just the past 500 years as humans took over more and more land for human use. And if you take a look there on the right, that's the number of birds that have gone extinct just in 2023 alone. This is a graph that you're probably already familiar with, and Dr. Rao talked about it this very morning when he started off the day. It depicts the percentage of wild animals left on the planet as compared to 1970. 1970. Were you here in 1970? The trend line, as reported by the World Wildlife Fund, brings us to the brink of extinction of all wild fauna this very year, 2026. It's time to activate the vegan rewilding solution, which activates both veganism and rewilding. You may also be familiar with this chart or this graph. The link between animal agriculture and biodiversity loss is clear to see. At the bottom of this frame, there are 3 time references. On the left, 10,000 years ago. In the center, 1970, and on the right, 2010. 10,000 years ago, there was far more wild fauna than humans, and there were no farmed animals. But by 1970, the biomass of humans and their farmed animals outweighed that of wild fauna 2 to 1. And by 2010, the biomass of humans and their farmed animals outweighed that of the world's wild fauna 20-1. By 2010, the biomass of farmed animals completely dominates the planet, and today we're out of land for any further expansion. If we don't return this land back to the wild fauna, the remaining species will face extinction in the very near term. Now, we've learned from Dr. Rao that when the world goes vegan, we'll free up an area the size of North and South America combined for rewilding. This is how we return land to the mothers and babies of species struggling for survival in the wild. But for those who question the weight of the dairy industry in the extinction of Earth's wildlife, let's consider how much land will be freed up when the world just stops consuming dairy and stops inseminating and raising dairy cows. The short answer, a very large amount of land would be freed, roughly the size of the United States or of the Amazon rainforest. Isolating dairy separate from all livestock gives a rough estimate on the order of hundreds of millions to somewhere around 1 billion hectares globally that can be returned to mothers and babies struggling in the wild. Where dairy fits in. There are roughly 270 million dairy cows worldwide, out of 1.3 to 1.5 billion total cows. Dairy uses land in two main ways, as pasture and grazing land, and for feed crops for dairy. And so what happens when we eliminate dairy? Isolating dairy's share of the land used by animal agriculture, we can estimate that although beef contributes the largest share, dairy is the second largest land user. Eliminating dairy alone likely frees around 10 to 20% of current agricultural land, or about 0.5 to 1 billion hectares. That's roughly the size of the United States or the full Amazon rainforest. This land can be rewilded, creating forests, grasslands, carbon sinks, and homes for mothers and babies in the wild who are struggling to survive. So the bottom line is that by ending our consumption of dairy products alone, we'll free up a land area the size of the United States or the Amazon rainforest, which we can return to nature, to rewild, to restore biodiversity, and to capture carbon. I'd like to share with you that Climate Healers now has a vegan rewilding tree planting birthday calendar. Since March 1st, we've planted 917 trees at vegan rewilding projects, such as Sadhana Forest in India, Haiti, Kenya, and Namibia. And right now we have 3 tree planting campaigns that are going on. The first is Earth's Birthday, April 2026. And there is a special link there for Earth's Birthday, where you can purchase trees for anyone that you know or would like, anyone who you feel is interested in the environment that might appreciate a gift of that kind. The second campaign that's going on right now is International Calf and Cow Mother's Day for May 9th and 10th, but the campaign has already started, and when you click on that link, it takes you to a landing page where you can directly get involved in purchasing Trees for Mother's Day. And those trees will give trees to mothers and babies in the wild that are struggling, fighting to survive. And then the third campaign is one I just mentioned. That's ongoing. It's Climate Healers' birthdays, but right now we're opening up for May birthdays. We have 5 birthdays in May. If you want to be added to that calendar, just let us know. You must join to be able to request access to that calendar. So if you want to join in the fun and restore depleted grassland for land of grazing land for mothers and babies threatened with extinction in the wild, then please either send a signal message or an email to me or Dakota. And if you want to purchase trees, here's our Climate Healers purchasing link. It's greener.gifts/CH. So let's plant trees for the mothers and the babies in the wild. I'd like to also go right for a minute, if I have time, to the web page, the landing page that has been set up for the International Calf and Cow Mother's Day. A landing page at Greener Gifts, and it's dedicated to celebrating the mothers of every species for International Cow and Calf Mother's Day. And when you scroll down, you're going to see the mothers and babies of Africa first. And these are all endangered species. They're fighting extinction. As you continue down, you'll see the mothers and babies of North America that are fighting extinction. And then we have South America, mothers and babies fighting extinction. And then Asia, mothers and babies fighting extinction. These are all links where you can purchase trees to give trees and give land back to mothers and babies fighting extinction in the wild. So this is the link that will be on the International Calf and Cow Mother's Day website. And I've asked Toby if he would go ahead and put all of these links in the chat.
That was such a wonderful presentation, Allison. I just, I gave Allison a challenge. Well, she used the word challenge. She says, are you no, not challenge. Was it a challenge? Yeah, to get this done before. I said, could you do a presentation, you and Dakota, on the tree planting campaign? And then you set this up with a landing page and all of this within a very short time. So thank you so very, very much. And
if you have any questions, Dakota and I are happy to answer questions in the chat. I know time is tight, and it's time for our last speaker, Anja Heister. Yes.
I just say 30 seconds.
Yes, go ahead.
Just 30 seconds. I just want to say how proud I am of you too, Allison. That's amazing. And thank you for bringing me on board just to be part of the project. And I just want to tell everybody, one of my favorite things to do is to get mangroves because they're only $2. So if you're tight on money, like whenever you feel like it, you could just get like 3 mangroves for $6 or something, you know, and they like sequester so much carbon. And anyway, every little bit helps, and just have a ball with it. It feels great. Thank you, Allison. Thank you, Tammy. Love you all.
Thank you, everyone.
In the early morning quiet, when the fields are breathing slow, there's a mother calling softly for the child she came to know. We took her milk, we took her baby, called it custom, called it need. But the earth remembers every bond we break to feed our greed. Bring the cows back to their mothers, bring the milk Let no baby be taken before their life's begun. Bring them home to their mothers. Let their bodies tell the truth. What was made for loving was never ours to use. She knows him by his breathing, by the sound beneath his cry, by the way the dawn is shining in his dark and liquid eyes. This is more than instinct speaking, more than nature's simple way. This is a love that crosses species, older than the word away. Bring the cows back to their mothers, let the circle still be whole. What is taken breaks the planet, what is love restores the soul. Bring them home to their mothers, let compassion be our guide. Every child beside their mother, every mother with her child. I have walked where moose give birth, where the cows lay down to calve. Placenta on the forest floor, a boundary sacred, raw and vast. I did not belong inside that circle, and she let me know it true. She ushered me back from the forest, from her home, where she belonged, not you. Bring the cows back to their mothers, honor where the birth blood lies. There are laws older than markets written in the mother's eyes.
This last year, the krill fishery took 650,000 metric tons out of the Southern Ocean. And this is literally taking the food out of the mouths of whales and penguins, seabirds and seals. These species are being severely impacted by the greed of the krill fishery.
And out beyond the breaking waves, where the great blue mothers roam, there are calves beneath the surface, learning oceans as their home. We reach deep for tiny bodies, scoop the krill from living seas. But that food was made for mothers and the young they hold and feed. Leave the krill for ocean mothers, leave the seas to feed their young. Let the whales and gentle giants raise their babies strong and sound. Bring them home to their mothers, land and ocean, hoof and fin. When we stop what's not ours to take, the healing can begin. We are waking from a long divided dream, where we fed on domination and called violence routine. Now a wider love is moving through our hands and what we choose. Every meal a sacred promise that no mother has to lose. Beloved, stand beside me with your feet upon the ground. Let our lives be living answers, let protection make it sound. This is how the world turns gentle, this is how the old ways end. When we choose the mother-child bond again and again and again. Bring the cows back to their mothers, let the mothers keep their
It's a tiny bit less than 80 acres. I have Jersey cows, Holstein cows, a yak.
She estimates she's rescued about 158 cows.
And most cows don't get to live like this. It makes me happy.
Tack Writer says she got to know cows working at a dairy farm in 1976.
The cows were just wonderful, and when they stopped making milk, they got slaughtered.
She decided to create the sanctuary after tragedy struck.
Huge storm, and I found all these dead cows in the field. The first cows I had were the 6 babies that survived the lightning storm.
She wrote a children's book about that experience, with proceeds benefiting the nonprofit, which she runs herself.
We feel entitled to artificially inseminate a cow, and when she gives birth, we steal her baby. Even though her cries of anguish are unmistakable,